Let's begin our Hoon Dok Hae by offering one standing bow to our beloved true parents. 하나님과 천부문의 서게레테 준배. Our most beloved heavenly parents, today, Sunday, March the 2nd, 2014, we pray that today will be a victorious day from our true parents, with our true mother here on earth, the true children, and all the true grandchildren, and all the leaders and all our members all over the world. We pray from our world headquarters that we can always report all our results every Sunday and our activities here. And we pray for the success and that they can reach their goals for our world headquarters with our UPF Chairman, Dr. Chang Shik-Yang, and the International Vice President, Reverend Thomas Wang, and his staff. And we pray as well for all the continental leaders all over the world, from Europe and Africa and Oceania, with Reverend Jung-Woo Kim, in Asia, Reverend Chong Shik-Yong, and here in North America and the Caribbean, we pray for Archbishop Kim and his family, that he will reach his goal for this year. And we pray as well for all the national leaders in each country all over the world of our unification churches and the Family Federation for World Peace and Unification. We pray for America with our leader, Reverend and Dr. Michael Balcom, and his staff and his family, that they will be successful there in 4 West 4/3 Street. And we pray as well for all the regions and districts, that they too will really reach their goals. And we pray for District 1 here in Washington, D.C. We pray for our leaders, our director, Reverend Ernest Patton, and his wife, Keiko Patton. And we pray for all the pastors in the Mid-Atlantic area, in Norfolk Beach, Virginia. We pray for Reverend Akira Ota in Richmond, Reverend Adrian Bayo, and in Towson, Maryland, we pray for Reverend James Stewart. We pray that they can reach their goals. And we pray here in the Beltway area in Northern Virginia, Reverend Ornice Lejeune, and in Maryland we pray for Reverend Wilhelm Stevens and his wife, and the co-pastors there like Ms. Jones and others. We pray for them that they can reach their goals. And here in Washington Family Church, we pray for Pastor Reverend Zachary Oliver, his wife Fumi-san, and daughter Brianna, and our council chairman, Dr. Achille Apolitsi, was here yesterday with the other members of the council cleaning up the church. We pray for the council, Vice Chairman Nane Goto and others, and we pray for all the members here at Washington Family Church, that today they'll come in on time. And we pray for each other's success, and we pray all of this in all our names and in my name. Athanasius Francis, C. Catalan Blood Central Family, Jew, Jew. Good morning. We have no video, but I'm trying YouTube for the first time today. And we're still reading the book, The Way of Unification in God's Providence. We're now on page 299, number 4. North Korean propaganda about liberating the South. The goal of the Communist Party in North Korea is nothing other than the liberation of the South. It's unification through communization. This is what Communist China encouraged them to do, and the Soviet Union did the same. What will happen if South were to be liberated? They would be able to control Japan. Their analysis is that if they can control Japan, then they will become the leading country in the Pacific Age. If Kim Il-sung has his way, then he will propose that the Japanese Communist Party and the Communist parties of other Asian countries form a new united party that would not be subject to Soviet Union. The proposal would be for the weaker countries that do not want to be subject to either China or Soviet Union to band together within the communist bloc to form a new structure, bringing together the weaker nations. The aim would be to put the brakes on the Soviet Union and to put the brakes on America. That's what they are preparing for. In that sense, North Korea, in addition to their constant effort to strengthen their domestic foundation, has been more active than the South in the area of international propaganda. They have established embassies throughout the world, and through this they are working to educate the leadership of each country, including cabinet members or ministers, department directors within each government ministry. Magazines about Kim Il-sung are being delivered to the living rooms of all these people. How many years since the country was liberated from Japan? They've been playing this game now for 39 years. In North Korea, anything can be accomplished if the order is given. We're now on page 300. They were calling for the liberation of the South, even at the time they were first establishing their government. They've been calling for this now for 40 years. They have not retreated even one step on this. The claims being made by the North Korean establishment today are exactly the same as when I was there. They just keep on going according to their established program. When they first began to preach their doctrine, there were many people who expressed opposition. They would shake their heads from side to side. Gradually, though, they strengthened their hold on the country until now, no one would even think of shaking their head. They are at the point now where no one can speak even one word in opposition. Soon, the problem if communism in the United States will be closely tied with Korea's problem. The Soviet Union believes that it can defeat the United States and be victorious throughout the world only if it removes the foundation of the United States centering on the 38th parallel. To support this, North Korea calls for the withdrawal of all U.S. forces in Korea on the one hand and conducts a peace offensive on the other. The Soviet Union, too, carries out a peaceful offensive, saying, let's do this and let's do that. If North Korea is ultimately successful in its peaceful offensive of let's become one, then eventually the Soviet Union will project itself onto the Korean peninsula. If that happens, it will just help itself to South Korea. And this was the speech on January 21st, 1986. Number 5, the communist system. The communist bloc has been able to create a single, uniform system. There can be no pluralism. Then unwavering support is given to this system by the powerful strength of individuals and clans, the nation and the state. We have nothing that is capable of marching or matching this strength. We don't have the military. We don't have the state. We don't have anything. Just think how strong a system we would have to build. Everyone would have to have his head cut off before we reach the point of judgment. No matter how much they say the communist system has changed, it is not possible for them to completely rid themselves of this system. They say that they will pursue the kind of socialist establishment that develops naturally in each country, but they do not trust the free world. That is why they will be left with nowhere to stand. Systematic changes in the communist bloc are impossible. There is no way for them to retreat unless they suffer a total collapse. That's the way it is. This is the most difficult problem facing communist China. They have developed their system under their current ideological structure. My idea then is that if we develop a content that is superior to the communist system and then transpose that on their structure, they will be able to exercise influence over the whole thing. We have a good opportunity now to do that. Communist China may be in retreat now, but it would cause tremendous problems if we were to allow that country to fall apart. The issue would become very complicated. China would enter a period of confusion similar to the Warring States period. China today faces the difficult problem of how to bring about change in their established culture or structure. They have to effect changes in the structure that currently link everyone from the highest position to the lowest position, but this is going to be extremely difficult. If they set about to change their political structure, for example, it may be possible to change certain portions of it, but it will be difficult to bring about comprehensive change. There is the possibility many negative consequences may come about as a result of opposition from young people who have been indoctrinated in the current ideology and from those who played leading roles in establishing the foundation for the current structure. That is why it will be very difficult to bring about change in the communist establishment unless there is a new ideology that can be used to graft their current establishment onto a new establishment that is superior to communism. We're now on page 301, section 3, the International Foundation for North and South Unification. Number 1, forward. For the people of Korea, the unification of our homeland remains an ineluctable task. Unification is equally imperative for all Koreans, both North and South. The fact that North and South became divided against each other is not solely the responsibility of the citizens of the Republic of Korea. The division came about as a result of actions by the world's great powers in a process that made no consideration for the will of the citizens of the Republic of Korea. For this reason, the unification of North and South cannot be accomplished solely through the efforts of the citizens of the Republic of Korea. It is necessary that we open the way for the world's greatest powers to cooperate in this effort. North Korea may say that it will bring about unification by liberating the South, but this form of unification cannot be sustainable for the long term. By the same token, South Korea may say that it will liberate the North by means of its national strength, but this is also will not lead to a sustainable form of unification. As far as the issue of North and South unification is concerned, a vision for a unified Korea that is durable over the long term is possible only if the way to unification is paved within the context of a mutual understanding among the great powers. This also coincides with the vantage point of providential history. Also, it is clear from the history of Korea that unification through the use of military force by either the North or South would be difficult. Furthermore, it is the sense of providential history that unification will be impossible without the involvement of the great powers. Yet, the reality today is that no one in Korea has a clear knowledge of this formula for unification. I am the only one. I became aware of this formula at an early stage in the process of upholding the will of God. I then began to prepare the groundwork for it, and I have even gone on to work toward the unification of the world. My purpose for accepting God's calling and in founding a new religious group called the Unification Church also lay in North and South unification and in the unification of the world. A unified world is not just a goal of the Unification Church. It is also the fervent hope of all humanity. It is a goal and a fervent hope that is desired not only by countries that are weak and small, but also those that are large and powerful. The goal of a single unified world is the common desire of all humanity throughout the world. The problem is in determining the foundation on which the unified world will be constructed. Number 2, Korea cannot accomplish North and South unification alone. In the world we live in today, every individual suffers the infringement of world history on his life. No one can avoid being under the influence of world history. Taking the Republic of Korea as an example, this country cannot exist just on its own. Without question, the Republic of Korea has entered into a world historical context in which it is directly influenced by the ideological and philosophical trends of the world. Even if the country were to try and avoid such influence, it is already in the nature of the environment in which we exist. Thus, you must realize that this is not an age in which the Republic of Korea can simply go its own course. Wherever the Republic of Korea goes, there will always be a problem of Asia. Whenever Asia tries to go, there will be always a problem of the world. Whenever the world tries to go, it won't be just this physical world. If we are to defeat the Communist Party in Korea, we cannot simply use a unitary strategy. The Communist Party is a dictatorship centering on a systematized ideology that possesses an international organization. It would be impossible for us to defeat this ideology by means of one country acting alone. Victory will be impossible unless there will be a worldwide strategy in which the different peoples of the world are brought together to stage an offensive as a unified front. Even if Korea somehow were to overthrow North Korea's Kim Il-sung and unify the North and South, what would it do after the Soviet Union? And how would it handle Communist China? It would be impossible. Everyone talks about Kim Il-sung, but what would happen if Kim Il-sung were to disappear? What would the Soviet Union do? And what would Communist China do? That's the more important issue. Do you understand? No matter how you look at it, then Korea cannot survive without an international foundation that is a foundation of allied countries. There is no other way to survive. How we are going to go about forming a united front that on the Korean Peninsula will bring about the North-South unification. In Asia, we'll link Japan and China, and then we'll drive out the Soviet Union and Communist China. North Korea is certainly an important issue, but we must also find a way to drive out the Soviet Union and communist China and return Asia to our Father in heaven. Furthermore, we should begin preparing now for finding a way to return the world to our Father in heaven. This is the huge mission that we will eventually have to fight to accomplish. The issue of North-South unification cannot be resolved without involving the world. No one can do it. It doesn't matter how much they harangue. Why must we do this centering on a particular ideological system? That's the way it is from the viewpoint of the history of God's providence as well as the principle of the unification church. Until now, I have accomplished all that was my responsibility, whether in terms of the spiritual or physical, or in terms of my responsibilities to the Korean nation, the unification church, and to God. I have completed all my responsibility. I have completed my responsibility for Korea. If there is still one task remaining, it would be the initial point has not been established that makes North-South Korea unification possible. But this cannot be done by Korea alone. It is a problem for which the world must take joint responsibility. It is something that will become possible as I work from now on a worldwide level. It cannot be done without that. Where will North-South unification be accomplished? Even in my dreams, I never think that the Republic of Korea can accomplish North-South unification just on its own. It cannot be done without working through allies around the world. This was done on October 28, 1979. Now is 5/29. We will continue reading this topic tomorrow about we must bring resolution to 3 nations. Korea itself would not be enough tomorrow. And we started today on page 299. We ended up on page 303. So is there anybody who wants to share about our reading today?
Good morning, this is Diane. Again, as a general point, there's a great benefit that we can understand more of the details of this complex history and politics that Father is offering to us information.
Thank you, Diane. Anybody else?
There's a terrible echo. Thank you.
Yes, you're welcome. Anybody else wants to share? So it's very preposterous for, North Korean propaganda about liberating the South. If they want to liberate it, they will make it as a communist country. And of course, Father mentions about the communist system. And it will fail because they plan to not only control the South, but they plan even to control Japan. So if they can control Japan, as if they can control Asia, and they will make their own communist bloc with Japan and the rest of Asia. without, Soviet Union or China. But anyway, Soviet Union is already broken up now to many democratic nations, from Russia, Kazakhstan, and the likes. And they just hold the Sochi Winter Games already. And China right now is flexing its muscles in Asia. And of course, Kim Il-sung is already dead, and then his grandson is running North Korea right now. And they're about to have meetings with people who have lost their relatives during the breaking up of North and South Korea in the 1950s. So hopefully we pray that these relatives or these people will reunite themselves, who are just one country, who are eating the same food, kimchi, and they have many similarities, of course, as a country. So is there anybody else who wants to share about the reading today? So hopefully I can upload this in YouTube and just watch it later, or other video conference is not yet working. So is there anybody else who wants to share? So if there's none, let's all rise and have unison prayer. Our most beloved Heavenly Parents, we're so thankful for this reading today. Although we cannot read the whole content of this speech, you have given us much hope, and you give us insights of what was your concerns at the time in 1986 and 1979. We pray that after all those years, indeed, the Soviet Union now is broken up to many countries now. They're not a Soviet Union, but a group of many democratic countries, including Ukraine, who is now exercising its right to govern without the influence of Russia. We pray, our Heavenly Parents, that they will really have a true democratic government. And we pray as well for many other countries that were under communist rule, even Grenada, and all of those countries that were under the influence of communism. We pray that right now, as they were transformed to a democratic, and hopefully our Unification Church would have much influence for the headwind ideology. We pray that as Father has really projected and also prayed, is for the unification not only of North and South Korea, but also for the unification of the world. We pray as more superpowers like the United States and even now China would really find ways to support North Korea and also South Korea. Their unification will be a prelude for the unification of the world. And we pray that our vision of our true parents' vision of 2020, that we can be there in North and South Korea without any problem, and we can celebrate their unification. And we pray all of this in all our names, and in my name, Athanasius Francis Sigatalam. Bless them of family. Aju, Aju, Aju. Uri yesonen tong il. Rumero sonen tong il. Ima sombacho sotong il. Tong il io ora. Ikyo saninen tongil inarat chande tongil tongil ikyo ra tongil io ora. Good morning to you, our beloved true parents of heaven and earth and humankind. Good morning to the true children, the true grandchildren, and to all our true brothers and sisters. Good morning. Have a nice Sunday. See you today on the church on time before 10, and invite everybody that you were inviting before, and keep safe and warm. Today there's a winter storm advisory even starting after lunch, so be prepared. Thank you, and have a nice day again, everyone.
Thank you.
You're welcome.